Thank you all so much for being here. Welcome to the female gaze. So one of the first things that Justina and I spoke about was the need to see more women on the canvas by women. When you think about it, almost every image of women in our society is art directed, produced, photographed by men. Now, I'm not saying if women ruled the world, all the images of men wouldn't look like Jason Momoa, but I do wonder if you could harness all the time and energy women spend hating their bodies and funnel it into building a society based on nurture and compassion, what that might look like. On our opening night, a woman with body dysmorphia said after seeing Justina Blakeney's paintings, she felt better about her body. See yourself represented and feel your confidence grow. I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Yael McShane Wolfhart. I'm the art wolf. And here is my little wool manifesto. I am not looking for equality. I want to live in a world where all the artists in the museums are women, where all the presidents are women, where every sex scene ends in a female orgasm. Okay? We all have the power in our everyday lives to make change. Hire women, support women, buy art from women, put women in charge. So I present to you the female gaze. 7 contemporary women artists in sculpture, painting, photography, and ceramics here in the beautiful Pacific Design Center, because we love working with designers to show art in context, how we live with art. And here we have one of the most notable interior designers working today. I'd like to introduce Brigette Romanek. Hello! So for anyone who doesn't know, Brigette Romanek is an award-winning interior designer based in Los Angeles who founded Romanek Design Studio in 2018. Romanek spent years traveling, curating, reading, and experiencing interior spaces and nature's beauty, inspiring her self-taught approach to design that creates aesthetically alive spaces without sacrificing livability. For her star-studded client list, which includes Gwyneth Paltrow, Demi Moore, Joe Jonas, Christian Bale, Beyonce, I think we need to move her to the top of the list, and Jay-Z, she designed spaces that will inspire for years to come. Romanek Design Studio was recognized on the 8100 list in the studio's founding year, and each since, in addition to Romanek being recognized on Elle Decor's A-list, among many other accolades. In October of 2023, Romanek released her first book, Livable Luxe, with Chronicle Chroma, offering an insider glimpse into her residential portfolio with a foreword by Gwyneth Paltrow. And here we have Justina Blakeney. I just want to say a personal thank you so much for participating in this show and sharing with everybody what I see in you and your work. Justina Blakeney is a Los Angeles, California-based artist, designer, and author known for her vibrant, colorful, and eclectic style. Drawing upon themes of identity, spirituality, and connection to the natural world, Blakeney's art serves as a visual exploration into the essence of the true self and the concept of being a human being rather than a human doing. Blakeney often incorporates mixed media elements such as wire, textiles, and natural elements into her pieces. Her artistic vision emerges from a diverse array of references, from wrestling with and celebrating her curls, curves, and curiosities, to explorations of pattern, cubist abstraction, and magical realism. Through her work, Blakeney seeks to uproot binary thinking and to inspire others to embrace their creativity, celebrate diversity, and honor the interconnectedness of all things. So please welcome Brigette and Justina.
Well, hello. Let's try that again. No, really, you guys, thank you so much for coming and taking your time to be here with us and my friend. And I'll let you in on a little secret that I let her in on. When I got the, when I was asked to do this, you know, you want to support your friend, right? And I hadn't seen her work, and I was like, what if it's like a dot or something just on the canvas? And I have to say that's great. So when I saw her work, I was just genuinely moved and blown away. And she's like the friend that keeps on giving in creative ways. So I'm really genuinely, it's a long-winded way to say I'm really honored to be here. And so very, very proud. And I'll give you a little bit of my take on Justina, and makes me a little emotional. Anyway, I've never been asked to ask questions, so bear with me. I will honestly say I'm honored and excited to be here today to speak with you, because every time I'm with her, I grow a little bit, and I'm grateful for that. And what I mean by that is all of us, we're all moving about in our daily lives. It's like, I got to go get the dry cleaning. I got to pick up the kids. I got to pick up those samples for my client, and so it's hard in the moment to be present. And every time I'm with Justina, I have to stop and be present, because that's how she greets me, and that's the presence that she has. And it just makes one feel, it makes one feel much better. She's like an exhale moment, and I talk about that so much in my work. So she's like a living, breathing exhale moment. So, and it's really wonderful. It's true. And so I believe that happened because she's a very sincere and authentic person, and like I said, very, very present. And I see that same thing extended, and it's in her work, so it's really just who she is. It's full of color. We didn't plan this today, but this is who she is. It's full of color, full of life, and really uplifting. And as designers, we all know one needs, and creatives, we know that we all need a clear point of view, and she is all that. So it's really beautiful to watch. And so my first question to you is, that's the lens that I see you through and your creation. What lens do you see it all through?
Thank you, first of all. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so honored to be up here with you.
No,
I love you, and I
you.
appreciate you, and I appreciate all y'all, so thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Between Elle's intro and all that, I am feeling emotional, but I think part of wanting more women in artistic spaces and in all spaces is allowing myself to feel the feels, so I'm just going to go with it.
That's right.
As for the lens through which I see the world and my work, I think that I struggle with that a little bit, I think, because the world is so big and colorful and intense sometimes, and what happens when I distill everything that I'm feeling and seeing, whether it's into a room or onto a canvas or whatever it is that I'm doing, I try and allow myself to sort of shut everything out except for what's right in front of me. Yeah. And I think as an artist and a designer and as an entrepreneur, I can be very future-oriented.
Right.
So I'm constantly thinking about tomorrow and next week and next month and next year. And, as designers, we're like designing stuff and for 2025 and 2026 and,
yep.
And I'm so forward-thinking. And I think that's one of my superpowers is my ability to do that and my habit of doing that. But what painting does for me is it brings me into the present moment. Mm. And when I'm able to distill what I'm thinking and feeling and experiencing into the actual moment, and when I'm able to be in the flow of that moment, it takes me out of what I often feel is sort of the chaos and the intensity of everything around me, because I feel things very deeply.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it allows me to distill it into a single moment, whether it's on a canvas or in any other medium that I'm working with. So for me, it's a kind of meditation.
Oh, and I see that too. And in knowing you and being able to look at the pieces, I can see and feel your heart and your presence through them. And I think that's really a gift. And I feel like in any atmosphere that these will live, they'll allow people to stop for a moment. I think that's one of the things you do so beautifully and make people connect. So I think that's great. I'm seeing your evolution and how it continues and continues. She started singing to me the other night. I was like, oh, jeez.
My album's coming out in 2027.
I'll be doing backup. I interior design, product design, and now painter. Do you see it all as one, like sort of one journey, or do you sort of wake up and kind of decide, I'm feeling this thing, I'm going to go for or try this? Like, what is the journey, and how did you get here?
Yeah, so I do, high level, I do see it as all the same. And I think as creatives and as people who are bringing things into the world, the way I see the world, I see through color, I see through texture, I see through pattern, and those I see through scale. So those are all things that I take from my design work and then can apply to my work as an artist as well, whether I'm painting or doing any manner of thing, whether it's getting dressed in the morning or writing a poem or anything, I'm still sort of thinking about all of those aspects and how to pull it together. I think that we're all like that. I don't think I'm special in that way. I actually think that all of us, like every single person in this room and outside this room, we all have that ability. And I think one thing that society does at a very, very early age to all of us is says, pick a lane. Pick a lane, pick something that you want to be really good at. Focus, and to an extent, yes, that's important, especially if you want to pursue something as a career or as a business. And I'm at an age and at a place in my life and my career where I'm like looking past those lanes, right, and trying to allow myself the freedom to be everything that I want to be without feeling like I need to stay in a single lane because I've been successful at this, so I need to keep doing that. I want to explore. And I want to exercise my creativity in any way that tickles my fancy. I want to have fun. I want to live my life in a vibrant, exciting, beautiful way. And that's extremely important to me.
Yeah, I love that.
When I am in my moment and in my joy and feeling my creative essence, I feel that's how I inspire others the most.
Absolutely, I agree with you.
And I reject the boxes that people try and put me in all the time.
Yes.
And I'm finding myself at this stage in my life peering over the box and wondering, what else is out there for me?
I absolutely love that, and I think it's so, like I said at the beginning, it's so great to watch because I see it. It's not, you're like not talking about it and I'm going to do it next Tuesday and I'll start there. You're going for it, and I think that's really important. And I don't mean for this in any way to sound morbid, because it's kind of the opposite. The one appointment we can't miss is when we, right? So when we're done, and so. The fact that you're saying, this is my time, I'm here, I'm gonna go for it, I'm gonna try things, I'm gonna experience things, and I'm going for it, I think is really powerful. And we all can be really afraid or to not move forward. And so, like I said, I continue to say it's beautiful to watch and inspiring that you're like, yeah, I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna go for it. So I just think that's great. When it's you and your canvas, is that a place for you to just say, this is me, I'm connecting right here, right now, and this is what I want to do, and that is what pulls you forward in doing that? Just the wanting to create?
Yeah, I think the wanting to create is very deep, for me, for sure. And I'm like, I like challenging myself. I'm like, let me see if I can do this. Let me see if I can figure this out. And that part of it's really fun for me. And, in my design work, I'm often working in really big teams.
Right.
And things are moving at a certain speed, and things are moving, how they move when there's a lot of people involved. Mm-hmm. And there's something really freeing for me in this experience of just being like me with a paintbrush and a carte blanche, right? A blank canvas. And there's just something very powerful to me about like being able to wake up in the morning and start working on something, and then at night look at it and be like,
It's not
Do
a
I
dot.
like it? Maybe. I don't even know sometimes. I'm like, sometimes I like them, sometimes I don't. But every time I do that with the paintings, I learn something.
Yeah.
You know, and it's exciting to watch myself learning and growing, and also learning more about myself. And I really feel like I learn more about myself with every painting that I do. And I think it can be interesting working with clients as a puzzle. Like, oh, I wonder if I can figure out this puzzle, how to make this thing just so for this particular client. So I understand the allure of that, and I've never enjoyed it.
Oh my gosh. Well, that was clear.
I keep it real. It's not my thing. It's not my thing.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So to that, I think that one of the most beautiful things about art is the exchange that happens, and the connectivity that I have, or all of us, like as designers and creatives, when we are looking at a piece and engaging with the piece, and how you then want to get your client, or for yourself, you want to now pull it forward and enter it into that space. And like, how do you see that coming together, like art in the home, in someone's home, and your pieces, and how art and design, how does that come together? Help us all.
Yeah, I remember when I was still doing residential work, and I was working with a client, and I picked out an art piece for her living room, and she was like, no, I don't like it. She was like, I feel like someone's going to think it's my mom, because it was like a random portrait, and I really loved it. But I think art is so personal, and that's one thing that I definitely learned when I was, doing residential interiors. It was like, yeah, you just sort of, I know what I like.
Yeah.
But it's a little tricky to know, what other people are going to like as far as art, because art is so personal.
It's so personal.
And one of the things that I enjoy about being an artist and being on, that side of the canvas is that once I'm done with a painting, it's no longer mine. Like, I know what I intend, and I know what it means to me.
Right.
But once I release it into the world, what you experience and what you see and what you feel while looking at the artwork is yours.
Right. That's very true.
And I think the same is true of interiors. The way that, I'm a maximalist, I love color, I love pattern, I love plants. And the way I feel when I walk into a space that has those elements that are combined just so, for me, it makes my heart sing.
Yeah.
But I recognize that's not true for everyone. And so I think that it is, with both art and design, it's so personal. It has to do with what makes you feel something.
Right.
And you just don't know that until you really get in and get to know yourself or your client or whoever it is,
right,
to be able to decide.
Yeah, I think that's true. And it's really interesting when we have clients that want us to help with the art, and it's sort of, okay, how do I get you to engage with what I am engaging with, or what really is resonating with me? And the conversations you have trying to explain, I find myself, I'm trying to, but art is just such a feeling. It's something that you connect with. So I'm trying to explain, I love it. And so I feel like it's a lot of that. But I do feel that with you and what you're doing, I so clearly see it that I would be able to express, and I know you personally, so I can express it just so well. So to you, I just want to say thank you for continuing to be on your journey and allowing us to be part of it and watch it and grow with you. And like I said, I'm super honored, sis, super honored. So.
Thank you so much.
That's my friend. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Yeah, I just want to, well, obviously, thank you. And please check out and buy Livable Lux if you have not. Yeah, I got to give my sis some props here. Such an incredibly beautiful book. And your new rug collection. She didn't want me to do this, but fuck that. New rug collection with Laloy Rugs is so beautiful as well. And so I love you, and I'm so grateful for you, and thank you for seeing me.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm here for the ride with you. I'm here for the ride.
And thank you all so much for being here. It's so weird that you're all in here, like surrounded by my art that's been in my little tiny art closet in my home studio for the past like 2 or 3 years. I didn't expect this to happen. I'm so honored. I was just painting because it was fun. And here we are. But that's the magic of life and Art Wolf. And so, yeah, I think we're going to open up the floor to questions. So feel free if anybody has them.
Yeah, we have time for Q&A.
Hi, thank you. You talked about putting a piece together or like working on a piece, and then at the end of the night you wonder whether you actually like it. So what's your process of persevering into and going through that and getting it to a place where you feel like it's yours?
Great question.
Oh, I love that question. I feel like it's a little bit different with each painting. Sometimes I go on a journey with them where I'm like, not quite, not quite, not quite, not quite. And then I'm like, I reach a tipping point where I'm like, ooh, too much, take it back, take it back. And I'm working mainly in acrylics, so the paint dries really quickly. And so it's like, there definitely have been moments where I'm like, oh, I fucked it up. But that's also part of the fun. And I think that that's such an underrated part of art and design. Yep. Like, let's have fun. This is a fun industry. This is so cool. We get to express our creativity. We get to do things that are fun. And I think that one of the things that happens a lot is that people start taking it very, very, very seriously. So I think for me, sometimes I just don't like the pieces at all when they're done. And then I'll be like, okay, go away, like leave it alone, put it in the closet, and then maybe I'll revisit it in a couple months, or maybe I'll revisit it the next day, or maybe I won't revisit it at all. But I think it's similar to design in the way that, sometimes you viscerally do something and it comes out of you very quickly and you're like, oh my God, I love this and this is done and wow, that was so magical. And sometimes it's like arduous and you're like days and weeks and months later and you're still, correcting little things. And yeah, some of these paintings, like Inside 1 and 2, those poured out of me in one weekend. And then some of these back here, like took me, like I worked on for like a month, so it's a little bit, like each one has its own journey, and I have like my own relationship with each one. And I definitely get to a place as a maximalist. I'm like very aware of like when I'm doing too much. I'm like, girl, you're doing too much. Take it back. So when I get to that point, I make myself stop. I'm like, stop, and then take a look tomorrow with fresh eyes and see how we feel.
Hi. You and I have touched on some of this before, but just, you do multi-businesses, multi-levels, multi-things. I always want to find time to carve out to paint myself, so I'm curious how you do it. Like, how do you set aside time to paint? How do you, put yourself in the zone, in the flow? That's the hardest place to get to. What do you do? Tell me your secret.
I have a secret about this, and I have to credit my oracle reader, Tizzle, with this tip. I pulled the Father Time card in my reading with her, and she said, you've gotten over your scarcity mentality with money. but you haven't gotten over your scarcity mentality with time. And she told me, you are Father Time. You can make time. And then I was like, I can make time. And then I was like, I am Father Time. And I had this whole big moment about it because, like, we can make time. And that, I mean, look, we're all busy. I'm a mom, yes, got business stuff, you know, got so much going on. But what I realized after she said that to me, and I told myself that I needed to look at how I was managing my time, that I spend a lot of time doing things that I don't really need to be spending time doing, like scrolling on Instagram. It's just not productive.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not productive for me in this moment. And if you're spending an hour chopped up in little 15-minute increments scrolling on Instagram here and there, like that's an hour of the day where one could be painting. So I really took that to heart. I am Father Time. I am Father Time. And anytime I find myself rushing around and being in time scarcity, I'm like, you're Father Time, JB. I'm Father Time. Okay. And so, yeah, look, I don't paint every week. I joked when I first put this up and put all these art pieces up with Yael. I was like, not bad for a Sunday painter, you know, because I do most of the painting on the weekends. But yeah, I have the weekends.
I think that makes us.
Mr. Time, you can call me Mr. Time.
But that's so perfectly you to me that you're like, okay, I'm coming back to myself and I'm gonna be present in this. And I think you move around that way so much. And I think it's something that we all could like learn from and try to do, because it's in those moments too when you're just sort of being that you find out so much about yourself and who you are and what matters to you. And sometimes, like, we can create noise just because we don't even want to be right there. But it's always that's the growing part, and that's good stuff. Even in the moment, if it's not, that's the good stuff, you know. So that's the good stuff, and clearly that's the good stuff. You know, you made something good. So yeah. Any more questions?
Oh, one last question.
I like that you said that each painting that you paint teaches you something new. So what's the most surprising thing that you learned from one of the paintings that you painted?
Dang, these are good questions. I'm like, yeah, just.
Okay, question corner, I see you. We didn't plant them here.
Checks in the mail.
So I think one of the things that was the most surprising is when I sort of started painting again after many years of sort of not doing this, you know, seriously between quotes or as periodically as I've been doing it in the last couple of years, is that, you know, I started painting and I was like, I didn't totally realize that all the design work, especially the product design and textile design work that I had been doing for the past decade, like made me a much better painter. And so I was like, I got better at painting by doing this other stuff. Because I kind of surprised myself. I was like, this is actually kind of dope. You know? I was kind of like, oh, wait, am I a good painter? Because I don't necessarily like, you know, I've always been really creative and I've always, you know, had a flair and, you know, a dope style and like all that, you know, that stuff's always come really naturally easy to me. But with that, with the painting, I was like, I don't know if I can like paint like realistically or like, I don't know about like shadows and light. And I've never like learned about any of that. And so when I started doing, you know, more, you know, less super abstract pieces, I was like, is this good? Like, this is kind of good. I don't know. I'm not sure, but like, I like it. So I think that was one really surprising thing to me. And I was actually talking to DeBito. Where is he? He's here. my boyfriend. Where are you? I love you. I was talking to Dabito. We went out to dinner one day, like after I like first started painting again, and I was like, yeah, I'm painting again. I feel like I could get like good at this, and I really love it. Like it's really fun. And he's like, yeah, because you've been practicing like with your design work. You know about color, girl. You know about this. You know about scale. You know about. And I was like, oh, that's right. I have been practicing, but I didn't realize it. Right? It was just like kind of a byproduct of all the other creative stuff that I've been doing. So it's fun to just be able to bounce around and do different shit. We're dynamic human beings, right? Like, why do we only need to do one thing? And if you only want to do one thing, blessings, like beautiful, you know? But like, I want to do a lot of different shit.
This has been so warm and heartfelt and inspiring. Thank you both so much for sharing with us. We all just wanted to listen in on your conversation, and you gave us exactly what we wanted. So thank you.
Thank you.
I'd just like to say a quick shout out to Maria at the Pacific Design Center for making all of this happen. Thank you so much. Woo! And also our beverage sponsor, Zephyr. Please help yourself to some kombucha and champagne and enjoy the female gaze. Thank you. Thank you all.